Hi everyone, I am Justin and I am the fitness director for Weight Watchers and Weight Watchers Clinic. And I speak with a lot of people every week who are trying to make exercise a habit, they're trying to make it a part of their lifestyle. And some things that come up commonly that I wanted to talk about were people just not feeling like they could start, or maybe people feeling like they just couldn't stay consistent. Some things that happen would be perhaps something comes up and their exercise routine gets a little bit derailed. And the way that I look at this, and this is what I wanted to share, was I think there's a lot of comparison between exercise, adopting a new behavior, and even just some kind of like financial responsibility, saving. It's very, very similar in my mind. You make decisions early on so that you have a payoff later. So, let me put this into perspective. When I moved to Boston to do my PhD, I had a $26,000 stipend. Not really a lot at all to live in Boston. Actually, I was looking at what my taxed earnings were on Social Security, and for 2017, it was just a little bit under $25,000, and that went up in 2018. We moved to Boston. I thought I'd be able to make it on a $26,000 stipend. Wasn't the case. So I had to start personal training. I was personal training on the side so that I wasn't taking out loans just to live. And one of my clients sat down with me and asked me if I had anything set up for a retirement account. I was like, I had no idea. I had a very small retirement account from my previous job, but I didn't know how to do that individually. And so actually, I look back, I sent him over my W-2 from 2017, and we went through everything, and we made a net worth chart. And he taught me how to open up an IRA, just doing that by myself. And again, I wasn't making anything at that time point, but he explained to me the benefits of compounding interest. If you do this now, you're going to see these benefits much later. If you don't do this, you're going to be in trouble. And I immediately went ahead and after I got the information, I set up the account, and then I set it up automatically for a small amount first. I think it was maybe like $100 a month, and I was like, okay, I can handle this. And then I bumped that up, and then I think around the second year that I had the IRA, I was maxing it out again. I was still a student. I was on a stipend, but I knew that was important because I understood why it was important, and then I subsequently understood how to do it, and I also wanted to do it. Okay, so I had all the information that I needed to do it. I had all the direction, and I guess I could have been in a position where I thought that was overwhelming. And I think if you can think of time and money in a very similar kind of context right here, I could have thought, why would I bother doing this when I'm making under $35,000 and living in Boston? I very easily could have just said, yeah, I don't have the money to do this. And I'm so glad that I did start small and I just started doing it, because that, over time, that's grown pretty significantly. And it gives you a little bit more like of a better footing overall for the future. And I really see the same comparison with exercise. So when I learned when I learned that information about finance, I had the direction, I had the knowledge, and I knew that it was something that I could actually do, even if it was very little in the beginning. It was my choice. Hey, Scout. It was my choice to do it. Again, like I said, all the information was there. And with that in mind, I'm going to tell you, if you want to exercise, this is the path that you need to follow. And I promise you, I said this in a recent meeting, that I promise you that if you follow these directions, these are going to be very specific directions, you're going to be able to exercise. You'll be able to do it. I never will tell someone they need to exercise for an hour every single day. I will never ever say that. Even as my life has changed, when I was a grad student, not making a lot of money, I had time. I had more time to exercise. I sometimes had 2 hours where I could have exercised. I don't have that now. I think actually today's workout was, according to my Apple Watch, about 37 minutes. Okay, so it's just some of these things change, and I'm never gonna tell people they need to exercise for an hour. Okay, if you know these things and if you follow these directions, you will be able to exercise. And I don't want to stall, but again, once this is understood, it's going to be up to you if you're going to take this advice. I promise you, if you take this advice, it's going to work, okay? So, one, you always need a prompt for action, okay? So what is that going to look like? It might be an alarm in your phone. It might be a calendar invite, which is my absolute favorite, is plug it into your calendar, plug 30 minutes into your calendar, okay? Plan the time to do it, okay? Look at your calendar, when's it gonna fit in? I do this every single morning. Every morning or the night before, I look at my calendar and I say, when can this happen, okay? And even if it's like, hey, if it's a 30-minute block, that's what I got, okay? When the prompt comes around, okay, it's gonna pop up in your calendar, it's gonna say, time to exercise. Whether or not you do it is a function of how difficult you perceive the task to be relative to how motivated you are, okay? If I had planned on exercising and I put it in my calendar, let's say for 5:30 after work, and I'm not feeling motivated at all, and I have this hour-long session planned, I'm probably not gonna do it. The task is here, my motivation is here. When the prompt comes along, it's going to result in a miss. A lot of people think, if I can just get more motivated, then I'm going to be able to do it. Again, this just needs to be higher than this when the prompt comes along. This is where the advice that I want you to follow, okay? And again, if you follow it, just like how when I got the tips to start an account, start auto investing, and I was able to do it, you're gonna be able to do it if you follow this tip. Prompt comes around, let's say motivation is here, perception of task demand is here, lower it. Lower it until it's lower than your current level of motivation. What does that look like? Okay, I planned on doing 30 minutes of strength training, and I'm totally sapped. I don't have the energy, I don't have the time. Okay, do it for 5 minutes, okay? Lower the task demand to meet your level of motivation. The number one predictor of future behavior is past behavior. So every time that you miss, it just makes it more likely to miss. Just like how with investments that I use or that I have, I never turn it off. I only turn it down if I need to. Like if things come up, Christmas presents, etc., I can turn down the investments, but I never turn it off. Okay, I reduce the amount, just like how I want you to think about reduce the amount. When times are better, when things are more favorable, it's easy to turn it back up rather than going from a condition of where it's off to turning it back on. Lower it down, it's easier to ramp back up from there. So again, set a prompt, gauge your current level of motivation when that prompt comes around, and then if you have to, lower the task demand. One last thing, direction's important, knowledge is important. My channel has hundreds of strength training videos that you can follow, okay? So all you have to do is just go ahead and scroll through them. They're super beginner friendly, joint friendly. There's chair options, body weight options, dumbbell options. Try to get into some strength training stuff. Get out and go for a walk as well. So those are the things that you have readily accessible to you. Get out, try to get your step count up. Do it slowly, it doesn't have to be a huge jump right off the bat. If you don't have any weights, do some of the body weight routines. Look into a pair of 5-pound weights. Again, that direction is all on my page, so please go ahead and check that out. And remember, just lower the task demand. The more you do it, the easier it's gonna be to do.